all that stuff will be gone. It's only what you invest in the kingdom that is going to benefit you for eternity. You're going to come up to me and hug my neck and kiss me and say, thank you, thank you, thank you for getting that money out of my pocket.
My house is almost 25,000 square feet. I drove a Maybach last night, Phantom this morning, and I'm in a Ghost tonight. God did it. You better not mess with me.
In the cars, and I'm doing the daycare, and I'm setting up the chairs, and I'm telling everybody to come, and man, my marriage is still a mess, and I'm about to lose my job, and instead of that so-called shepherding them in the right direction, and know what the shepherds of these ignorant flock say is, you need to sow more money.
The first thing that is done to legally corrupt systems, nations, and corporations is a freezing of all monetary assets. This shuts down the corporate operations, and this is the biggest step in redeeming the American church. The story of tithing was long established, with Abraham giving Melchizedek, being the high priest, tithes from the spoils of a great battle. To make it very clear, tithing is completely different from giving freely. What are tithes, and who should receive these tithes? This is also such an important topic because it is the number one terrible guilt trip we all hear in most houses of worship. Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, the leadership tries to tell you what you must give, and that it's money. This is a moment during service that gets its very own allotted time every single Sunday, if not even more. Let's break it down. What are tithes exactly? The tithe root word means a 10th part. Okay, so does this mean we literally give 10% of everything we gain? The answer is no. There were very special rules for what a tithe was. A tithe was a 10th part of all the land they owned. It was declared to be set aside for God alone. All the physical land, which included vegetation, seed, fruit, herds, and flocks. It was not checked to see if it was perfect or not. It was still set aside. It was set apart. It was to be deemed holy. Side note, there was also a specific feast where all tithes were to be taken to a specific place, and if they couldn't take it all, then they could sell it for silver and travel and buy their feasting food at the festival. But no, money is not included in the tithe. Even the tithe could be redeemed, but will still set that creature apart as God's. It doesn't deem it not holy. So, we should be giving fruit, grain, oil, seed, birds, and cattle to our church? You can, but who gets the tithe? Now the normal tithe was given to the priests, because the Levites, those priests, were not allowed to own lands or herds. So the tithes went to the priests for them to live off and eat, and they also used it for sacrifice. The tithes would also be stored sometimes to give to the widow, the orphan, or to even the vagrant that wandered around. You had the priests and the high priest, and even the priests gave an offering of their own tithes. This 10% was considered a heave offering. Now this heave offering went to the high priest. At the time it was written, the high priest was Aaron. One reason tithing was needed were because so many animals were needed to be sacrificed for the sins of the people, to purify and cleanse them and take away the sins. The priest sometimes had a non-stop bloodbath, and then there were barbecue grilling for God as an offering, a burnt offering. Then there was also the Passover lamb that was to be slaughtered in place of Jesus. Jesus was the final sacrifice, and that final sacrifice became our high priest. That's what Hebrews 7:26 through 28 talks about. So how do we give our high priest heave offerings? Hebrews 13:15 would say by giving him a sacrifice of praise. So as people, shouldn't we continue to tithe to our priests? And normally you would assume the modern priest would be a pastor. Well, this is incorrect. For the word calls the saints priests. We are all saints and we are all priests. 1 Peter and in Revelation, we're of a royal priesthood. We are priests. Now, a part of this, if you were to object to that even, modern pastors own their own land, have their own things, buy their own food, and many of them also have jobs. They're eating up the spoiled American dream of ignorance just like the rest of us. But together, biblically, we are all the priesthood. So don't take this wrong. If you want to support people over you, then feel free to give it to them because you set them over you. If they're teaching you things that makes your life productive, hey, totally support them. But never get guilted into paying a type of God tax to the church you attend to. If it's like a cool club for you, then pay your membership fees or club dues. Heck, if pastors just freaking admitted they are running a for-profit business, it still wouldn't be as bad. Because at the end of the day, God will take care of you whether you give a pastor $10 or $10,000. Don't let the clergy spit verses at you saying, God will keep your stores overflowing if you tithe and give and tithe.
Show me the money! Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
And to you true pastors out there, stop this guilt wagon and manipulating practice. It is irresponsible and awful. And corruption will stay in your house worship until you address this. Giving is different in what we see with the guilt tithes, but I will make another video specifically of giving, how we should give, what we should give. Because as a biblical church, as a people, as saints, we should be wonderful givers to everyone around us.